we got? Yo, OP4 is out? Let's get cooking.
OP3, oh man, it was boring, but now we've got some more. We got OP4, look at the new leaders, they're so strong. Dofi, what could go wrong with Rebecca? We got Dressrosa package. Let's try and cook in the kitchen with OP4. It's gonna be bitchin'. I got my sharp knife, I'm cutting my cards. They're gonna be so good in the new meta. I can't wait, it's gonna be great. Let me go grab something. Oh shit! Fuck that noise, we're cooking with OP4. Don't need no evil spirits in my pantry. Let's go and make something spicy. Throw it in the skillet. What are we cooking? It's like 6 new leaders for me to try out. Crocodile, probably just playing Blurple. Not the new yellow purple. Why is yellow one of its colors? Let's get cooking with OP4. Just need one more thing to add to it, and that's the sauce. It's just mustard, but it's the sauce. Put a little sprinkle of nothing. Now we got something. OP4.
It's loading.
What's going on, everyone? It's me, Loading, and I'm here to provide you with more cardboard content for the One Piece trading card game. We got 6 new leaders. I want to go through all of them, have just a sample deck list where you can start building from, just use it automatically. So this video will provide just a starting point for all 6 of the new leaders. First one we're going to go over is Queen, right over here. So when attacking, if you have Worn Dawn, if you have a total, it's a big math equation with Queen's effect. If you Worn Dawn when you're swinging, and the total of your life and the cards in your hand are 4 or less, you can draw a card. But if you have somebody on the field that costs 8 or more, then you recover a life. Pretty sure that's what it does, and the card is right in front of me. So it sounds complicated. It's not super complicated. Have an 8k character on the field or higher. Swing with Worn Dawn on Queen. Try to recover a life. This deck is super grindy. Just know your end of round procedures. Let's go over a couple of cards. I got Kaya in here, just a hand filter. It's also a 2k counter. 2 Trafalgar Laws. It's just a 1k counter blocker because blockers are becoming super relevant again. We have 8 copies of Boa Hancock or Charlotte Brule. However you want to look at it. It's the same stat line. The only thing that is different about these is there's a couple things different, but mostly just the name and the typing. Then we have Perona. Looking at the top 4 of your deck, you want to kind of manipulate some of the cards in case you're healing. You know, you can put something like Beige or Sanji or even Gum Gum Red Hawk on top of your life and have pretty good triggers. Speaking of Beji, here's Beji Capone. He's a 2k counter, trigger out of life. One of your opponent's characters or leaders can't attack this turn. It's probably one of the best yellow cards that they've printed. Then we have Dofi, the blocker from OP1. Again, like Perona, rearrange the top 5. You can put them at the bottom if you need to. Usually you don't. Again, it's just trying to manipulate what you're going to heal, what you're going to draw, and it also provides as a blocker. Then we have Sanji coming out of life. You can discard a card to play him out on the field. He's a 5k blocker. Great stat line, blocker, super great. Katakuri is going to be playing him. Wonderful card. Speaking of Katakuri, it's not the leader, but it is the card. On play, you can put an 8 cost or lower into that player's life. So it's really good. Sometimes you can do it to yourself if you need to recover, or if somehow you paid a Beige Capone or one of your blockers, you want to put them in life and get that effect again. A lot of versatility. I think it's a great card. Then we have the 9-drop Mihawk. Should know what it does. Bottom deck something 7 or less. Probably Blue's best card. It has been the best bomb you can play in blue until 10-drop Kaido this set, and it's debatable on which one you still want to play. Then we have 9-drop Yamato. Their effect is if you look at your life, you look at your opponent's life, you total those up, and then you can KO something on the field that has cost equal to or less to that. And if you have 1 or less life, you can recover a life. Pretty good. You're going to be recovering a lot of life in Queen and just kind of extending the game through that. Low hand, low life, but it's somehow you just can't get rid of it. We have Gum Gum Rain. It's an event. It costs 0, trash a card from your hand, get 3,000 counter. I think this is good in the deck because sometimes you want to just get rid of cards and get down to the 4 total between your life and your hand. And this can kind of help be defensive and get you there faster. Then we have 3,000 Worlds and 3 Gum Gum Red Hawk. Red Hawk bottom decks a 5 cost or lower character. Gum Gum Red Hawk just bottoms decks anything. It's the best removal in the game right now, at least single target removal. So with Queen, you're going to be super defensive, covering life. It's a really annoying deck. Know your end realm procedures. Second deck is Rebecca. Now, honestly, I haven't played Rebecca that much, but I've seen videos. She's one of the 2 new leaders that has 5 life, but can't attack and is multicolored. Her effect is you can pay 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If you have 6 cards or less, you can choose a Dressrosa type character, put that character into your hand, and discard the other one. So, I don't know if this is, the gospel of Rebecca for the list. I think it's a good start. I'll go over some of the cards briefly. Tetsuru, minus his stuff, 2k counter. I'm going to say all these names wrong. Hell yeah. Gats. Up to one of your characters with Dressrosa type can attack one of your opponent's characters that is active. So this card's pretty good. You'll play him a lot of times, swing with a Kairos, and then you'll pop it to Orlimbos. Then we got Leo. You can rest your leader because your leader's never going to attack. So a lot of these characters care about resting your leader. And then you can KO 1 cost or less, so that can get rid of pesky blockers. Or if there's other things that you've discounted the cost, you can pop them. Then you trash the top 2 cards of your deck. Rebecca is just a 1-drop searcher. She only looks at the top 3, grabs a Dressrosa, and you discard the rest. You're going to be wanting to fill your trash with cards so you can use effects like Luffy to put them back and get multiple swings. Next we have Ido. He's just a 2k blocker. Then we have Bartolomeo. He's a 2k counter, blocker. That's it. Pretty good. You're going to discard him. You're going to play him. Solid. Next is probably the star of the deck is Kairos. If he would be KO'd, you can rest your leader to stop him from being KO'd. So he's a very sticky body. He's going to be like a Marco. He's going to be on the board. And also on play, if Rebecca is your leader, you can KO one of your opponent's 1-cost characters or less, and then trash 1 card from the top of your deck. Now, the synergy with Kairos is Orlimbos. You want to play him. You can activate his effect, give something on your opponent's characters -4 cost, and then you have to trash a Dressrosa type character. Sometimes you're going to be picking Kairos, resting Rebecca, and then I think it's KO'd, and then you're going to KO something with Kairos. There's a lot of synergy between these 2. So, yay for Kairos and Rebecca. Sabo, probably one of the most pushed SRs in this game. He's 5/6 stat line, 1k counter. He's a blocker. When you play him, none of your stuff can be KO'd by effects. I think it's just, yeah, it can't be KO'd by effects. So no pistols or anything like that can hit the board. And then you also draw 2 and trash 2. So, and he's blocker. You can swing. Just, yeah. No, he's also Dressrosa, so you can search him. It's just crazy, crazy stats. Then we have Monkey D. Luffy. This character can attack active characters, which is pretty wild. He's a 7 for 7, no counter. He's also a Dressrosa type, but you can activate main, put 7 cards back from your trash on the bottom of your deck, and restand him. If you do this effect, he won't restand during your next refresh phase, but it's probably fine because you're killing something or you're going in for game. I included 2 Gum Gum King Kongs. Gives one of your Dressrosa characters 6,000, and then if you have 15 or more in the trash, it gives it double attack. A lot of the times you can keep a blocker or just one of these little guys out there, and then just play this, and all of a sudden it becomes an 8k swing for game. Pretty busted. 3,000 Worlds. You can switch this with Red Hawk, Gum Red Rock if you want. But you're going to be minusing stuff, and you're probably going to just remove whatever with 3,000 Worlds. Next is the other card that really shines in Rebecca. It's the Coliseum. If your leader has Dressrosa type, your characters that have the Dressrosa type can attack characters the turn as they are played. So it's like a pseudo rush. But we have a lot of characters that can attack active things. There's effects that let us attack active things. So it will really help out with removal in the deck. And you're just going to be playing board control all day. Next leader is Isho. One of the more underrepresented decks in Japan for sure. I know a lot of people want to cook with him over here. Hats off to you. Good luck. Hope it does well. This is just a very basic list, something I threw together in a few minutes. So Isho's effect is 1 Dawn. You can give all of your opponent's characters -1, which is a pretty good effect as it is. And then at the end of your turn, you can pay 1 to set up one of your characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. So you can swing with your blockers, guild-free, like your Borsalinos and your Sabos. So we'll get into the cards. Tsuru, 2k counter. I already said what she did in the last deck list. I threw in 4 killers. It's a good blocker, can get you card draw if they don't have ways to deal with it. Brenu, there's a lot of navy in the deck, even some green cards that he can search for. So want to have a good searcher in there, so we use Brenu. Izo is a 2k counter, rest something that costs 4 or less, and with Isho, if you have 1 Dawn under him, all of a sudden you can rest something that costs 5 or less. Pretty good at getting around blockers, swinging into him if we need to. Tashigi is a 2k counter. You can activate her effect, give something -2k on the field. Pretty good, swing in, and also a 2k counter. I wanted to have 10 in the deck just because we're not running any events. So when I don't run events, I usually want to run a couple more 2k counters so the deck has more defense and can keep up. 4-drop Kuzan draws a card when he swings something -4k. Card's really great in black because you want to be discarding cards a lot of time, and you can do some crazy synergies with Isho. With this card, Kuzan, you can play Kuzan, swing for 4, and then if something is rested, that's 8 cost, you can kill it with Extra 8 from OP1. I think it'll be pretty cool. We'll see if it can keep up with the other leaders. Barcelino, 6k counter on your opponent's turn, can't be KO'd on their turn. It's a blocker, has 1k counter. One of the Admirals, one of the best black cards. It's almost an auto include if you're not playing anything, if you're playing black besides Rebecca. Next we have X-Drake from the Supernovas structure deck. When he's rested, he gives 1,000 to all your Navy and Supernovas. So the deck's running a lot of Navy. It looks like we're going to be getting a lot of stuff buffs just from him if he stays on the field. And we can get some pretty good Zoro-type swings in. Next is the 5-drop X-Drake from OP1. KO one of your opponent's rested characters with cost 4 or less. I think this card is just... people are just not using this card enough. In the past, super great. I played 4 of it in Kinemon, and it did a lot of work. And with the new leader, you can give everything -1. You can pop stuff, pop Arrested 5, which that pops a Marco, and a lot of other things. So, yeah, we'll try it out, see how it works. Sabo, I explained in the last deck list, pushed, does too much. Monkey D. Garp. So with Isho's effect, we're giving it everything on the field -1, versus where Smoker was only giving it to one thing. It's more removal, it's Navy. Let's go. Sakazuki, great removal card. Discard a card, pop something that costs 5 or less, and if we have 1 Dawn on the leader, 6 or less. Good removal, 7k attacker, just all around good stats. 2 Ishos, if your opponent's being greedy and they're keeping a hand higher than 6, we're going to punish them. But if they're playing Queen, just discard them. That's all we really need to know. Big Kuzan, give everything on the field -5 cost. Going to be triggering effects, popping things. And he also pops something that costs 0 when he comes down. So it's going to pop something that costs 5 essentially. 10k beater, one of the stars of the deck. Blello Croc, purple yellow Croc. His effect is on your opponent's turn, once per turn. If you return a Dawn to the Dawn deck with one of your cards' effect, just put a active one back. Pretty good. It's only on your opponent's turn, unfortunately. So you're not always gonna want to play things like Queen or king, those effects. If it was on your turn, it'd be a little better, but I digress. So we're going to be running a little mixed package of Baroque's works and just good yellow cards. Mr. 13 and Miss Friday. It's just a 2K counter. Don't ever play it. It's got an awful effect. Brûlé is a blocker out of life. Can really get them. Miss Valentine's. Look at the top 5. Get a Baroque's work character. You can also play her out of life and trigger. And if you do have the Crocodile as your leader, you're going to get that Dawn back. So it's just you get to play it for free. Miss Golden Week. Awesome card and sealed if you pull a bunch and you played Croc. And yeah, if it comes out of life, you can freeze something that costs 5 or less. And on your turn, you can freeze something from attacking that costs 5 or less. I don't think a lot of people are playing this. I think a lot of people should, so that's why I included it in the deck to highlight it. It's a good freeze card. You also have this other freeze card that's a 2K counter, Beige, where you can stop their leader or one of their characters from attacking. We run Sanji. You're not putting Dawn back, but you're putting out a blocker. You're putting out an attacker. No reason not to. Miss All Sunday. Man, I wish they would have made her a 6K swing, but they didn't. So on play, you can return 2 Dawn and then... No, sorry, that's wrong. On play, you get a Dawn, and if you have 6 or more, you draw a card. Look at me, I can read. And then trigger, you can return 2 Dawn just to play her out of life. So you get a 5K swing out of life sometimes, you get a draw sometimes, you get a ramp sometimes. If you have Croc as your leader and she comes out, you're not losing any Dawn, so you're probably going to draw. I put in 2 Guild Tessero, just kind of as a little flair, you know, put 2 Dawn back. You're not going to get them back with the leader, but drawing 2 cards seems pretty good. You could honestly swap this out for any other card, so go ahead, feel free if you need to. Katakuri, 8 drop, put something in your opponent's life that costs 8 or less, put something in your life that costs 8 or less. Why not put one of these great Baroque Works characters into your life and have their effect go off again? A lot of utility in this card. That's why I'm putting 4 in here. The new Purple Crocodile, you can put back 2 Dawn, and if your leader's Baroque Works type, you recover a life. Solid effect. Also on opponent's attack, you can put a Dawn back to draw a card and discard a card, so he helps filter your hand. Just it seems like a really good SR. Probably can't keep up with some of the other decks. Nevertheless, it's pretty fun, so why not? Yamato, another new SR. I explain what I did later. It's a complicated effect. Pop something for life totals and then recover, do something. It's a good card. I only included 2 because I think these are really the 2 main stars in the deck. Color Trap. Put 1 Dawn back. Give one of your characters or your leader 1,000 and then you res something that costs 4 or less. So it's a Punk Gibson. If it comes out of life, you're just going to ramp. So probably want to ramp. I only included 2. Blast Breath. This is just Rad Beam with this deck, because you put 1 back, you get it back, and there you go. 4K. Awesome defense. It's really the best deck that can utilize this. Hell's Judgment. Play this in this deck. You want to play 4. Give 2 things minus 3,000. On your opponent's turn, put 1 Dawn back. Both our leader. Put 1 back, get it back. Put 1 back, get it back. That's the name of the game, baby. And Hell's Judgment just shines in this deck. Super defensive, super great. Next we have the green purple Dofi. People are calling it grape Dofi, film Dofi, whatever you want to call it. This thing is going to have a massive presence, at least I hope, because I've invested a lot in this deck. Invested a lot of time. The deck really is solid. It's a good control deck. I'd say it's the first control deck that we've had since OP1 Kid that can really compete. His effect is at the end of the turn, you just set 2 Dawn as active. So we're going to be utilizing events like Punk Gibson, Thunder Bagua, and the new Spiderweb. It's just a really great card. It replaces Paradise Waterfall because it does the same thing, costs 1 more, but you also get 2,000 more. First card we want to highlight is Buena Vista. It's a 2K counter. It's from that film deck, remember they released all those months ago, and it had all those cards that no one really used. Well, now we're using them. Buena Vista is included, 2K counter, and a searcher. Next we have Sugar. So when you play Sugar, you rest something that costs 4 or less. And on your opponent's turn, if your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, whenever your opponent plays a character, you can rest Sugar to rest one of your opponent's other characters. Now I say can, rest sugar, but it's a must effect. You have to do it. So it's really a skill tester to see if your opponent's going to be playing around it correctly, you know, dropping a searcher and then running into it and then playing what they want to play. It can be good, it can be bad. If your opponent knows how to play around it, you know, good for them, but if they don't, good for you. Tony Chopper, the film character, 2k counter. We'll be able to search him with Buena Vista and Nami. When he attacks, you can rest something that costs 2 or less. Could be relevant against Law and some other weenie decks. Next, we have Shiki, which is also from OP2. Out of life, you can pay 1 or put 1 Dawn back to play him. We're never going to do that, probably, unless we need an extra body to swing in. He's a 2k counter. We need a little more, so we run it. Nami, on play and when attacking, you can pay 1. Look at the top 3 for a film card other than Nami. This card is going to whiff, but it's not always going to whiff. In this deck, it's going to whiff less. We're going to play it because it can grab things like Uta, Guild Tessero, Luffy. There's only a few things that it doesn't grab. And you can play it off of Luffy. It's a great card. Next, we have Uta. So one of the unique things about this deck is we can play film Luffy, and then we can drop the Uta with the film Luffy. So you're dropping 2 blockers in 1 turn. It's a pretty good tempo swing, not going to lie. She's a 4 cost, 5k. She also was in that film deck that was released randomly and had all those cards that we used, you know, forever. On block, -1 Dawn, you can rest a 5 cost or less. Running 3 Zoro, it's just a good vanilla to drop with Luffy if you don't have Uta. And it can be searched. I have 2 Diamantes. I was running 4, but it was whiffing them a lot. It's still a good card. If you have 2 Dawn active at the end of your turn, you can unrest him, and he's also a blocker. So he's kind of like mid-kid from the Supernova deck. Next is 3 Guild Tessero. So once you get to 10 Dawn, you can start freely swinging with this guy and draw 2 cards, because that's his effect when attacking. -2 Dawn, draw 2 cards. Super good. Helps you just get this massive hand that your opponent has to just fight their way through. Monkey D. Luffy, 7 drop, 7k blocker. We're going to play something that costs 4 or less in the deck. That's Film or Straw Hat. So we're going to play things like Uta, Nami, Zoro. Super good tempo. Next is the 10 drop Dofi. On play, you choose three characters or leaders, and they don't unrest. This is how the deck's going to shine. This is how this deck is going to be. Whitebeard, a lot of other decks. It's just a huge boss monster. It's awesome in the deck. Can't search it, unfortunately, but we can draw with things like Guild Tessero. If we chain these, we're doing real good. Next, we play a event package. People like to shake these up and play other things. I run 4 Punk Gibson. Rest something like 4 or less, gives your leader 4,000. Rest something out of life. Next event is Thunder Bagua. You don't have to run these. You can also run Hell's Judgment, but this helps you ramp. It gives you 4k. That's why I like this over Hell's Judgment. You could probably run a 2-2 split, honestly, and that'd be good. But I just left it at 4 because that's what I've been cooking with. Spiderweb, it's a 4-of. Please don't run less. 4k, restand one of your characters. You're blocking 11 with Luffy once, and then you can block with him again. Or you can have them rested. They swing into you. You got a 9. You restand them, and all of a sudden you have a blocker. You're playing mind games. Also, out of life, it gives your leader or one of your characters 2,000 for the rest of the turn. So all of a sudden you become a Whitebeard, you become an A-drop kid. Just a lot of utility with that card. Last but not least, we have Vivi. She's probably the worst leader out of this set, not gonna lie. But hey, we're here to have fun, you know? Everybody got their Nats invite if you register fast enough. Her effect is you can pay 2, draw a card, and then give one of your characters a rush. Now this sounds awesome, and if this character could attack, Vivi would be good. But her not being able to attack, there might not be enough for her to really compete. We tried anyways, and if you want to play Vivi, here's kind of where I've started with. So we have 4 of the structure deck Namis. It lets you use Rested Dawn and put them on your characters. So if you're giving things rush by paying 2, you're going to be able to use that Rested Dawn and put them on this swing. Searcher Nami, she whiffs. She'll probably whiff in this deck, but she can grab things like Nico Robin, Zoro, and the 1 of Rad Beam if, you know, they keep it at 1. Next, we have Nico Robin. A lot of the problems was if you play her down, she doesn't have rush. She can't use her effect automatically, so they're going to try to kill her. But with this deck, if you pay 2 more, you can rush, and you can kill those pesky little blockers with her. One thing I wanted to try out with this deck is the Sentamaru engine. So if you have Sentamaru in the deck, you can pay 2, 1 Dawn under them, and you can search for a Pacifista. Now when you search for the Pacifista, you're paying a total of 3. So you can go ahead and pay the 2 and give it rush with VV and also draw a card. So you're always getting those rushers out. You don't have to worry about them being in your hand. I thought that'd be a fun little engine to try. Next is the Roronoa Zoro from the structure deck. So 1 Dawn, he gets 1,000. So essentially he's a 7k for 4. And with VV, he's a 6/7. So we can see if it's going to be a good attacker or not. There might be better targets, but who knows. Wanted to try this out. It's a beefy swing with rush now. Next is Brook from OP4. If he has 1 Dawn attached to him when attacking, he gives 2 things minus 2,000. So this card will be a good removal. Now that you can give it rush, you can attack into things. You can probably use some of your other characters, like your low little searchers, to attack in them too. Next we have the Pacifista. I already explained Pacifista through Sentamaru. He's just a 4-drop vanilla 6k. Next is 5-drop Marco. I think if you're playing a red deck, this is just an auto include. You pop a 3,000 or less when he comes on the field. He's hard to kill. He's good stat line. This wasn't one of the cards that got restricted. Just letting you know that. We can still run 4, so probably want to play 4. Next is Pell. This is one of the only Alabasta Kingdom cards in the deck. 1 Dawn when attacking. He's just a big Nico Robin. He can pop something with 4,000 or less. If you already have a Brook established on the field, he's going to be popping something that has 6,000 power or less. Pretty good card. Good with the deck. Good to give it rush. We'll run 4. Next is the new Roronoa Zoro. On play, he gives something minus 2,000. You can give something, if something's rested, give it minus 2,000, pay 2, swing at it with him. Can be good removal, some good utility. Next is our bomb of the deck. It's the structure deck, Don Quixote, Don Flamingo. It's a 7 for 7. You play it down, pop something, and then if you're on your 10 Don curve or 9, you'll pay 2, give it rush, and then you have a 7k swing. So if they put out a blocker to try to stop you from swinging in for game, you're going to pop that blocker. You're going to swing for 7. And if you have some Namis down on the field, it could be higher, and you're going to see your opponent try to figure out what to do. We play 1 Rad Beam. Why not? Rad Beam's awesome. You can search it with Nami. Good deal. It's just, yeah, it's a good counter card. So we run 1 because that's all the Bandai wants us to run. Next is Happiness Punch. So it's the other Alabasta card. You pay 1, give one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000, and then if your leader is active, which they're going to be because it's Vivi, she don't swing, you give another thing minus 3,000. It's kind of like a guard point, but in VV, it can be a little better, keeping things at a minus. So say like a Eustace Captain Kidd deck, if somehow you're playing against one of those, you give it minus 3 for the turn. It's pretty good. Or the, that Black Luffy that can restand. Beware of the Happiness Punch. Last but not least, we run 3 Gum Gum Red Rocks. Best single target removal in the game. This card is cracked. Also, I want to note that it is Straw Hat type. You can search it with Nami. Probably the best thing you can do in VV is play Nami, reveal Gum Gum Red Rock, and they're like, what? I'm like, yes, it is Straw Hat type. And then your opponent is baffled, just like you are, that you can do this. And there you have it. Those are the 6 new leaders in OP4 and some deck lists to get you started. Comment below which one you're going to play, which one you want to try, and what cards you might be trying to cook with VV or one of the other leaders that didn't have a huge presence in Asia. And always, I appreciate every one of y'all, and I'll see you next time. Peace.